Mr. Newman, I was listening. My first question was going to be about how do we do this between the federal government and state and local governments. You cited that already some of the lower levels of government have gotten out there. I think you made it clear that you think we need some template here that will be the general framework. Is that, in a nutshell, what you said earlier?
It is, Ranking Member Braun. The companies that want to use this are being faced with a vexing and increasing patchwork of state and local laws, some of which are promulgated by folks who are less than informed on the technology, the upside risks, and the downside risks. This is creating a lot of headwinds for those who want to innovate, those who want to responsibly deploy, and those who want to make sure, as the fellow folks here testifying, want to make sure this is done responsibly. And I'm anti-regulation by DNA, but this is an area where I think the federal government ought to act responsibly and prudently and occupy the field so there is a uniform set of rules to do this responsibly that large and small companies alike can draw from and make sure they're on the right side of the compliance line while innovating.
You referenced something that's in the House currently. How long has that been there? Was it in the last Congress, or did it originate in this Congress?
So it made it to a discussion draft bill, not a formal numbered bill, and it was in the 2018 Congress. I think that was the 118th Congress.
You mean the last Congress?
Yes.
That was 117th.
117th, yes,
okay.
Sir.
So it made it to that point. Any other formality on legislation that you're aware of?
There's a bunch kicking around, but no.
I think Senator Hickenlooper and I will take a look at that. You talked about the downside risks. I'm going to call it the nefarious use of AI. Could you give me your top three biggest concerns, both domestically and internationally, in terms of what that might be in the time you've been looking at this?
In the employment context or general?
I'm talking more broadly here now.
Yes, I think AI could be used nefariously and will be by state actors to influence domestic issues. I think there will be a lot of fakes, voice and image. I think AI will be used to interfere with our elections and promulgate cyber attacks. Those are the most national security points of concern, in my view, X the workplace.
I'm glad you got it on record, because we hear a lot about it, and a lot of times it's just referred to generally. Thank you. Ms. Morley Ryan, intrigued me, you work for Accenture, that you mentioned in workforce is such a big deal in a place like Indiana. We've got inherently low unemployment rates. We have half our counties that are trying to find their next act. That idea of getting better skills while you're in the place where everyone goes to school, K through 12. How do you see that? And I thought you mentioned that you're going to have entry-level positions in your own company that don't require a four-year degree. Is that true? And would you elaborate on that?
Yes, thank you, Senator Braun. Yes, we have multiple ways to come into Accenture. To your point, half of our entry-level positions, or almost half of our entry-level positions, do not require a four-year degree. Currently, yep. And we hire 20% of our entry-level positions through our apprentice program across North America. We have had 2,000 apprentices since 2016. We also do a bunch around apprentice networks across the country. We don't have one in Indiana yet, but Chicago was our founding apprentice network, where we encourage other employers to join us in building apprentice work and learn programs. Additionally, from an access and on-ramp perspective, we work with nonprofits and other organizations to provide our perspective on technology and AI fluency to inform how they're developing their learning and training programs.
You mentioned, too, that you were going to increase. How many employees does Accenture have currently?
We have 733,000 employees globally.
Okay, and you mentioned going from 40 to 80,000.
Yes, sir.
Particularly aimed at an AI focus?
Yes, sir. Data and AI.
So you're going to bump it 5 to 10% of total employment on that. And again, a large percentage of those will be if you come out of high school with the right aptitude, you could come and apply for a job and get one.
Yes, assuming that yeah, openings and all that sort
Sure.
of thing. But yes, and I think,
I think that's an amazing statistic from a company like Accenture that I would have just assumed it would have taken a 4-year degree. My daughter actually worked there for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Now in the company that I built, she and her 2 brothers are running it. But I think that's something we need to shout out more.
Yeah.
College educations are getting so expensive. The stat that I see is only 35% of the jobs actually require it. It's generally in technical or professional training. I think it is neat that you're doing that in a way that, to me, then emphasizes how important that K through 12 education is and teaching real life skills for a multitude of uses once you graduate from high school. I'll yield back.